I remember very clearly. I can still see the corner in my house in 20 Northmore Road where it happened. I got an enormous pile of exam papers there, and marking school examinations in the summertime is an enormous, very laborious, and unfortunately also boring. And I remember picking up a paper and actually I nearly gave an extra mark for it, extra 5 marks actually. There was one page on this particular paper was left blank. Glorious. Nothing to read. So I scribbled on it. I can't think why. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit.
This one famous sentence from 1928 began a legacy and a following that would change the face of literature forever. Tolkien worked on The Hobbit intermittently from this point up until its publication in 1937. The Hobbit begins with an unexpected party at the home of Bilbo Baggins. Gandalf, Thorin Oakenshield, the Dwarven King, and his band of dwarves attend. Gandalf sends them all on a quest to retrieve a dwarven gem called the Arkenstone that is guarded by a dragon named Smaug. After exchanging riddles in the dark with a slimy creature called Gollum, Bilbo obtains a magical ring. The group of adventurers continue to travel until the story's climax, the Battle of 5 Armies. Bilbo eventually returns home having lost and gained friends. Although the book was originally intended to entertain Tolkien's 3 sons, it ended up selling more than 100 million copies worldwide. It reached all ends of the earth, being translated into over 40 different languages. The Hobbit was extremely successful and Tolkien's publisher asked for a sequel. Tolkien's plan was to publish the Silmarillion. It chronicled the dawn of Middle-earth and all the historical events that led up to the Third Age, the Age of the Rings of Power. This idea, however, did not sit well with Tolkien's publisher, and they asked for something else. Work began on The Lord of the Rings. The trilogy begins with Bilbo Baggins handing down the ring he took from Gollum to his nephew, Frodo. Narrowly evading the Ringwraiths, Frodo reaches Rivendell, where he volunteers to take on the task of bringing the Ring of Power to Mount Doom and destroying it in order to banish the dominion of the evil Lord Sauron. He is accompanied by the Fellowship of the Ring and sets off on his journey. When the trilogy first came out in 1954 and 55, it received mixed reviews. In the modern era, however, Tolkien's works are recognized widely as very important pieces of literature. Unfortunately, JRR Tolkien passed away before the Silmarillion was published. His son Christopher finished the final chapter and had it published in 1977. Tolkien's saga sparked a new demand for fantasy literature and influenced countless people, even the most unlikely, such as George Lucas. Tolkien's novels strongly influenced video and role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons and Ultima. In the 1960s, the term Frodo Lives was associated with the countercultural hippie movement. In the 70s, English rock band Led Zeppelin released songs like The Battle of Evermore with Tolkien-inspired lyrics. Today, Tolkien's influence is extended due to Peter Jackson's films. In 2001, Tolkien's legendary works were revitalized at the hands of a New Zealand director, Peter Jackson. Jackson had cinematic success with films like Bad Taste and The Frighteners, but his journey to universal acclaim sparked with the release of the film adaptation of The Fellowship of the Ring, the first book of Tolkien's epic Lord of the Rings trilogy. In the same way Tolkien wrote his books, Jackson made his Middle-earth seem real, and it would have been impossible for him to do so without the help from physical and visual effects companies called Weta Workshop and Weta Digital. Weta Workshop created all the armor, bigatures, which were nicknamed as such because they were technically miniatures but by no means miniature, weapons, and prosthetics like the infamous Hobbit feet. The company brought Middle-earth to life with incredible detail. Every design choice was directly related to the nature of the fictional character that it applied to. For example, Aragorn's sword has an eating knife built into its scabbard in order to assist his character if he were to venture into the wild. Weta Digital created all of the CGI sequences. The two most notable digital effects in the films were the large-scale battles and the character Gollum. The battles in the film were often large-scale skirmishes that got larger with each sequel. The Mines of Moria sequence was trumped by the battle at Helm's Deep. Which was no comparison to the battle at Pelennor Fields. In order to simulate huge battles like these, Weta Digital developed high-end computer animation software called Massive that gave each individual soldier their own distinct physical traits and artificial intelligence. Even more impressive is Weta Digital's rendition of the character Gollum. He was created by using a mix of motion capture sessions with actor Andy Serkis and keyframe animation. Bringing Gollum to the silver screen was groundbreaking because he was both a CGI and performance-based character. The movie shared a thematic motif with the books, a constant struggle between good and evil. Instead of using words to describe this clash, they used imagery. Howard Shore, the composer for the film's scores, also created music that distinguished the difference between good and evil, as well as set the mood.
Fly, you fools!
Jackson and his team worked very hard for many years to bring Tolkien's novel to the big screen. In the end, the trilogy won 17 Oscars and had a total worldwide gross of $2.9 billion. The films were enormously successful and catapulted Peter Jackson into production of another movie he had wanted to direct since he was a child, King Kong. In the wake of the very successful Lord of the Rings films, it seems like a no-brainer to make a movie based on The Hobbit. Currently, Guillermo del Toro, the director of Hellboy and Pan's Labyrinth, is slated to direct a film adaptation of The Hobbit. It's scheduled to be released in two movies, one in 2011 and the other in 2012. Although this may excite Tolkien fans, the late writer's first son, Christopher, is engaged in a lawsuit with New Line Cinema, claiming that the company owes the Tolkien estate 80 million British pounds. This is an obstacle that del Toro will have to evade before The Hobbit can be filmed. Tolkien was not like one of his elves. He was not immortal. His words, though, will live forever.